It's SSSVEDA day 23. We have been vlogging every single day for 23 days, and I think that's phenomenal. Well done, all of us. Aren't we cool? And today's topic is, who would you most like to have a cuppa with? Well, it's actually, who would you most like to have a coffee with? But I don't like coffee, as I explained yesterday, so I'm going to talk about a cup of tea. And when I say a cup of tea, I'm thinking a massive cup of tea, not only because I really like tea, but also because I am hoping that this would be one stonkingly long conversation, and I would never want it to finish. So who would I most like to have a stonkingly long cup of tea with and a chat? Well, I've got a few people. In fact, there's millions of people, and I could go on about this for hours. However, I'm not going to bore you with that. So I've got a few people to tell you about. Here's the first one, Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I think that's how you pronounce it. She is the author of the most awesome book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And when I read that book, it's like a little love letter straight to my heart. I absolutely love it. It's like she wrote it just for me, and she gets me, and I read it and I feel seen, and it's just such an amazing book. And I read it when I need some inspiration, when I need some clarity, when I just need to feel understood, and it always delivers. It's beautiful. Sometimes brings me to tears, and so I would really love to meet this woman. I think she would be very interesting. The book is about women's psyches. She really knows her stuff, this woman. She's a psychoanalyst as well as a writer and a poet and a storyteller. Just beautiful. Anyway, so I would have a very long cup of tea with Clarissa, and then after I had finished that cup of tea, I would have another long cup of tea with Sherlock Holmes. Now, I'm not really very fussy about who my Sherlock Holmes would be, because both the lovely Mr. Cumberbatch and Mr. Johnny Lee Miller would do very well for eye candy. But I also love the idea of just having a chinwag with Sherlock Holmes and just getting inside that amazing mind and finding out what he has to say about everything around me. And although I realise that he would probably not be a very convivial guest, and probably would be very antsy and walk around a lot and not really want to sit down and have a cup of tea with me in the same way that I would want to have a cup of tea with him, I would be desperate to know what he had to say, and I'd love to hang out with him. So Sherlock Holmes, and if he happened to be either of these two gentlemen in body, then so much the better. And then on to my last person for today, but like I say, I have got a million people and I could have gone on for days. My last person for today is Derek Moody. Derek was a very good friend of ours when we lived in Brighton a few years ago, and he was also our vicar. That's how we got to meet him. And he really was one of the kindest, wisest, funniest, wittiest guys that I think I've ever had the pleasure to meet. He had an unrivaled stock of dirty jokes and would often be seen wheeling his bike rather drunkenly down the road after a few too many of a Sunday lunch, and then go and perform evensong. But he did it. He still did it with the most amazing grace. He was priestly even when he was telling the dirtiest jokes, and also a real human even when he was at his most priestly, and I really find that very hard to find in other people. They often are, I know a lot of priests, and they are often a priest or a person, and it's quite difficult to get quite difficult to get somebody who is genuinely themselves in both roles. And Derek really was that guy. He was very funny, very cool to be with, and he was my Dumbledore. He was the person that I would go to when I just didn't know which way to go or what to do or what to think. And he would never tell me what to do or what to think, but somehow by being with him, it would just all be better. Anyway, feeling myself welling up a bit now. I miss that guy very much indeed. He died of cancer a few years ago now. And I always remember him saying, when I said, well, why you? And he said, why not me? And that will always stick with me. Anyway, before I get too maudlin about Derek, right, And that will be the end for me today. So yes, again, I'm going to finish off with my little Twitter address. I don't know why I use Twitter, because I don't particularly like Twitter, but come and say hello on Twitter because I'm on there. It's just easier to put that. So come and follow me at Coach by the Coast. You can also find me on Facebook, which I much prefer, and my page on there is Straightforward Coaching, and actually I'm on most of those things. But there we are. I'm going to stop wibbling now, and I will see you tomorrow, guys.